Welcome back. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas giving himself an A for effort yesterday on his performance over the border, telling senators that he believes the Biden administration is on track to solve the border crisis. He was also asked what grade he would give Vice President Kamala Harris on her efforts to address the border surge. Watch.
Vice President Harris, our border czar, what kind of grade would you give her?
Vice President Harris is not the border czar. Vice President Harris has been asked by the President of the United States to focus on root causes.
Joining me right now is Oklahoma Senator, Senate Homeland and Governmental Affairs Committee and Finance Committee member James Lankford, who was at the hearing. Senator, it's great to see you again. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks. Good to see you again.
Give me your overall assessment. How was Alejandro Mayorkas' testimony?
Well, he was toting the company line the whole time. What's interesting is even his comment about Kamala Harris not being the border czar. She was supposed to deal with the root causes of migration. What people forget is Vice President Biden, under President Obama, was also given the task of working with Central America, dealing with the root causes of migration. So fascinating as it may be, this goes all the way back to that time period under President Obama when Vice President, then Biden, now President Biden, was supposed to deal with root causes. Clearly, they've not done that then, not done it now, continue to have big gaps in the border, continue to have an open border that has 1.7 million people, the highest number ever to cross our border illegally in all of our records happening this year. So it's a pretty big issue. And as Ali Mayorkas is trying to walk through, he's trying to tote the company line, but he's not able to give an answer for what is actually going to be done at this point to solve the problem.
Well, I mean, I feel like, we're talking about we're going to see 2 million people apprehended in 2021. As you say, we're all the way up to above 1.7 million. I mean, what's the motivation here, Senator? I mean, I know you sent a letter to Mayorkas earlier this week demanding an explanation for his contradictions, the contradiction between his September testimony that the migrants were failing to report to immigration officials are an enforcement priority. You wrote to him that there are 3 leaked documents that ICE is issuing immigrants. One of those documents reads, "Don't worry if you are past the 60-day deadline to report from the time you entered the United States, so you can help ensure the best outcome for your case." What do you think is going on here? I mean, what is the motivation for this administration to have wide open borders and 2 million illegals apprehended this year? And by the way, that doesn't include the 400,000 that we understand have gotten away.
Yeah, we don't know how big the number is of gotaways. That's an estimate of gotaways that they actually physically saw getting away from the border, but we don't know how many millions of others came across the border in other places no one ever saw. I can't tell what the motivation is. The American people clearly don't like the chaos of the border. The American people like secure borders. We are the most open, legal immigration system in the world, with 1 million people a year that come here legally. Americans celebrate that, but they do not like illegal immigration except for the far, far left. The far left that's running the White House right now is very focused on having the borders as open as they want to be. They're saying they're going to be humanitarian. If people want to come to America, they can just cross the border. The American people absolutely do not like this, and there are clear solutions. The Trump administration put in place the MPP, the Remain in Mexico policy, saying if you want to apply for asylum, you can do that. You just don't come into the United States and get released and wait 3 years for your hearing. You've got to be able to do that on the other side of the border. That's the clearest way to do that. That's what the federal courts have said. That's what all of us have pushed on for months now, to be able to have this administration actually put in a policy that actually works and has proven that it works. So if they want to be able to stop what's happening at the border, they know how to do it. It's already been done by the Trump administration. They just have to choose to actually implement the policy and do it.
So, I mean, Senator, your colleague Ted Cruz calls this administration as having a brazen lawlessness. You know, the president was ordered by the court to reinstate Remain in Mexico. The border agents on the ground tell me he's not going to do it. There's no plans to do it. Then you've got, 20, what do you have, 19 legislative days left to get 4 major things done by the end of the year. The massive spending agenda is the priority for this president, and yet we continue to see voters reject it. Yesterday, he said once again, it's not going to cost anything. So tell us where you stand in terms of the social spending bill. Is it going to clear Congress by year end?
No, it's not going to clear Congress by year, and they can't even get their act together on this. They've got multiple problems with the left and the far left and how they're fighting each other. And you are correct that they're inconsistent. And as you quoted, Senator Cruz is correct. Even areas where I push back with Ali Mayorkas, as you mentioned before, he said to me at one point, we're going to arrest people that overstay. And now we find out they're sending documents saying, if you overstay, it's okay. We'll send you a letter and say you're still fine. That's an inconsistency. What they're doing on the social spending bill, we all know what that'll do. That'll end up raising inflation even more. They've taken a $2 trillion bill they did in March of this year and saying that raised inflation. So to quote unquote fix it now, and their new line is not just it costs zero, but it's going to solve inflation. They're going to dump another $2 trillion on the economy to try to solve it. It's like pouring gasoline onto a fire to put it out rather than water. They're going to continue to accelerate the problem. And when the American people even see the content of this bill, not just the cost of it, they don't like the content of it either. They may like the big headings on it, but once they get to the details, they'll say, I didn't know that was in there, and it becomes a constant issue for them. So this is a hard-boiled egg on the sidewalk in the summer. The longer it sits out there, the worse it smells, and this has gone on for months, and the American people do not like it.
Well, how significantly do you expect taxes to go up should this plan get through? And do you think it gets through?
I do not think it gets through. I'm grateful that it doesn't get through. We're going to continue to be able to push back and expose the problems. The American people are pushing back against it again. But we've seen that every single sector of the economy, every single sector of income, they will actually have increases in their taxes. This is not just my opinion. This has been outside scores that have actually looked at the bill that have said 2/3 of the people that are in the middle class will have tax increases. The vast majority of Americans will have tax increases. And people that are millionaires will actually have their taxes go down under this. So it's the opposite of what the Democrats have been saying.
Yeah, it's amazing that they keep pushing it through, despite, you know, an obvious rejection based on those gubernatorial races just last week in New Jersey and in Virginia. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for your analysis here.